Shabbat Shalom, all praise to the Most High Yah. God bless to the 12 tribes and the Gentiles. What's the verdict? I know my slogan, guilty by association. I ain't do one of these videos in a minute, so I figure I'd do one of these, Me watching Bomb First, shout out Bomb First, Reggie Wright, James, Mob James, and John over there, you get me? They start touching on the whole Tupac Shakur. Was he Mob, Piru, or nah? Type of question that the fans, was sending them once again. And this is my opinion from my perspective and from what Tupac, said in his interviews and in his songs. I'm not going to quote them from word for word, but y'all can go check them out yourself. Was Tupac Shakur Mob Piru? According to Mob James, no. And a few other my homies, no. They don't even consider Suge Knight a real member of Mob Piru. You get what I'm saying? And you would think like that, but the story came out that not even Suge Knight was a real Mob Piru. You get what I'm saying? So let alone Tupac Shakur. So that's understandable. Now you got the other percentage of the Mob Piru that plays with the idea of Tupac Shakur being a part of Mob Piru. Whether he got jumped on, put on, or honorable, blessed in. Whatever the case may be, it wasn't on camera. So there's no recording of it. So, it never happened. It never existed. None of the outlaws would say they was there to see it for themselves. Suge never came out and said that Tupac got put on. You know what I mean? So there's no real. Tupac himself never said that he got put on to Mob Piru. So I'm going with the idea that Tupac Shakur is not Mob Piru. But keep in mind that the word mob and Tupac Shakur is from Oakland, California, right? He moved to Oakland, California from the East Coast. He moved to the Bay Area, Marine City. And he played around in that area, all through the Bay Area. The Bay Area, they used the mob as a to identify their group of people. You know what I mean? To identify their street groups. In LA, they use theirs by gangs. Their alliance is by Crips and Bloods, which is broke down into gangs. In Oakland and in the Bay Area, they use the mob as the faction, as mob faction to break down their crew. In Chicago, they use nations. We got People Nation, Folk Nation. Outside of that, anywhere else, Jamaicans and Haitians, they use posses. The Hispanics, they use cartels. Use the name cartels. The Italians and Russians use mafia. You get what I'm saying? Mob. The drug crews in New York and Philly and Jersey, they used to use crews. You know what I mean? Named after a crew, or a posse, or a clique. You get what I'm saying? That's how, everybody identify themselves with each other as a group. And then to add on, in Oakland, California, in the Bay Area, because the Bay Area is huge, it's not just small. In Oakland, California, specifically, according to Spice One, according to many other guys, E40, Too Short, a lot of other guys, Richie Rich, these guys said it themselves. They used the lingo blood to identify, because blood is short for young blood. That was a lingo way before the Blood and Crip ever existed. The word blood, they took the word young off and just kept the word blood. But in Oakland, that's how they identify each other, through saying blood, which is short for young blood. So instead of saying young blood, it just calls each other blood. It have no identification to LA. You get what I'm saying? So keep that in mind as well. It's no different than cousin. Crips say cuz. So instead of Crips saying cousin, they say cuz. In Philly, in certain parts of South Jersey, They say cousin. They say cousin. They call each other cousin. Even when they not really related, but they are their lingo is cousin. But over there on the West Coast, and anybody that's affiliated with a Crip crew, they call each other cuz. So instead of saying cousin, they made it short for cuz. Keep that in mind. Now to keep what I mean by keep that in mind, Tupac Shakur and from Oakland got his game and he got his game and his identification. He grew as an individual. To Tupac Shakur, we grew the new in Oakland, California, right? On the West Coast in general. They used the word blood and they identified each other with mob. So Tupac going to death row and running to the Mob Piru. Remember, before he was cool with Mob Piru, he was cool with a lot of Crips in LA. Cause you had no, be honest, when you in LA, bro, or California in general, or the West Coast, you're going to run into more Crips than Bloods, right? You're going to automatically run into more Crips than Bloods. So you're going to end up befriending more Crips than Bloods on your journey if you was living out there on the West Coast. It's not like the East Coast where you probably end up more of your friends would probably be Bloods than Crips. You'll probably have more friend Bloods than Crips on the East Coast. But on the West Coast, you will have more Crip friends than Bloods because you're gonna run into more Crip sets than Blood set. You probably run into 10 Crip sets before you run into one Blood set in the East Coast, on the West Coast. Right? So when Tupac Shakur probably got when he went to death row and he see that the Mob Piru was over there, holding it down, the muscle, he probably did get, influenced by it. How we know he shouted them out in his music, right? By name, not just by the mob thing, by name. He shouted them out. He gave them their flowers by name, right? And he been wearing red. He got plenty of radios way before death row wearing red bandanas, blue bandanas, he was wearing bandanas, all kind of different color bandanas way before death row. He always let it be known that he's not a blood or a Crip. He always let it be known he wasn't a blood or Crip. He left a blueprint on how he was going to elevate the gangs of America as one under Thug Nation. Unite them under one structure, Thug Nation. You gotta remember, Tupac Shakur is from the seed of a Black Panther Party. Why will he give up Black Panther Party, something that's original and has is more substantial for a gang? That's backwards, right? That's backwards. And let's keep in mind, when he was repping Mob in his music, he never put Piru at the end. You can't find one song where he said Piru after he said Mob. Find me a song, find me a verse, find me an interview, find me anywhere in front of the camera where Potts said Mob Piru. Repping Mob Piru. He repped the mob as a whole. Cause that's where he started structuring his organization as the mob. Not Mob Piru, but as the mob. Right? Even when it came down to the whole situation with Orlando Anderson and the Southside Crips, Pot didn't see a Southside Crip. He thought he was fighting or attacking a bad boy affiliation.